Welcome, Cottonwood community, and thank you for spending some time with me and John. At a time of divisiveness in our nation, we come together as leaders at Cottonwood Classical as we stand for our children and their right to an educational experience that provides them the tools for success. This experience must be built on systems that are inclusive and equitable at their very core. Last night, the Governing Council discussed what we stand for and what we stand against. Like APS, we stand against racism and recognize that many of our systems are not built to equitably provide for all of our students, and that racial injustice and inequity are far too pervasive in our society. We stand for and believe in the mission of Cottonwood Classical. We believe in the strength of our community. We believe that the administration, faculty, students, parents, and Governing Council can and must join together to build a place for all of us to work and support the growth of all of our students. As one of the leaders at Cottonwood, I feel a distinct obligation to ensure that this conversation and corresponding actions are front and center. Together with John and his team, we are committed to investigate and deconstruct the systems we have in place that don't reflect our core belief of equity for all of our students. The Governing Council commits to overseeing this work through the mechanisms of the strategic plan, the Equity Council, the leadership structure of the school, and through the annual measurable outcomes we establish and monitor for John as the executive director. We commit also to finding one or more people to join the GC who have experience, passion, and competency to help oversee this work. We recognize this is a very complex issue. We won't always get it right, but we are willing to listen, to reflect, and to take the risks necessary to confront these issues at our school. John?
Thank you, Joe. Albuquerque Public Schools, our authorizer, recently published statements and resources for students and parents regarding the tragic death of George Floyd and the resulting questions, conversations, protests, and calls for change. You can find a link to those resources and statements in the attachment. We stand firmly with APS in agreement that Black Lives Matter and concur with the assessment that institutional and systemic racism exists in multiple layers of society, including here in New Mexico. We stand firmly against racism and inequity in our communities and in our school. As a public school, we are included in both the problems that exist and the development of solutions that must continually follow. Cottonwood is by no means perfect, and it has had its stumbles in years past. Heading into the 2020 to 21 school year, I look forward to continued partnership with the Governing Council and all constituents to make systemic changes and improvements. Among the actions already in motion being taken to stand up for the rights and equity of all students and families in our community are the Equity Council and an administrative restructuring, including the creation of a new senior leadership role focused on student, family, and teacher support and engagement. I will share more details with you on how we are proceeding with regard to these initiatives and more in late summer. As we look at what is happening right now in the wake of the murder of George Floyd, we as a public school and an IB World School must encourage our students to look at matters of injustice through the lenses of the IB learner profile traits. Reflect on the situation. Be open-minded to what protesters, politicians, and law enforcement officers are saying, and inquire to be more knowledgeable about humans' history with regard to all manners of systemic racism and oppression. As appropriate, consider ways to take healthy risks to share your voice and ask questions. One way to engage with these issues is through literature and discussion. On the aforementioned APS webpage, there are lots of resources for parents about how to talk with your children about these issues. You can also check out the link in the attachment from We Need Diverse Books, which gives a wider array of resources for books, articles, and organizations that look at matters of race, equity, anti-racism, and inclusion. In our inaugural order for the CCPS library, we ordered quite a few of these books, and when the school year has begun, we'll communicate ways that you can borrow them for at-home reading and further discussion. We hope you are able to have fruitful conversations on these topics at home and look forward to further engagement in August. Thank you.